Week 4 is about to be wrapped up and everything has changed. We got 3 weeks of fantasy football that has given us stats and facts for us to dominate our leagues, right? False. Completely false, dude. So week 4 had a lot of twists that nobody saw coming and a few players who shocked us all, right? So let's rewind and see who really banged and who faded away. But first off, welcome to the playlist. Thank you for kicking it. I am Jimsy and this is Fantasy on Repeat. And like I said, we're going to go through my top lessons learned. And the first one is Jaxson Dart is a fader, right? Because it's like I said, he's a real mystery QB, and that's a bad call on me. I said he was a must sit, but again, his first NFL start, Dart went 13 for 20 with 111 passing yards and 1 tutty, but the 54 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. He scored on a 15-yard run on the opening drive. He took it like a G, dude. And I guess he is a G. He's a true definition of a G man, and I think that's what the Giants needed. Honestly, they didn't need Russell Wilson. They didn't need Danny Dimes. They needed someone to fit the mold of that New York style. Almost like what happened with the Knicks, right? The Knicks came through and they were just playing rugged and they gave hope and faith to the city in their sports and the city alone. So New York was very appreciative of that. Maybe that's what Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatterboo, that's what they're going to do. But man, with all the ups that was going on with them, all the hype, there had to be some downs, man. So Malik Neighbors goes down with an injury, officially tearing his ACL. So please take the time to recover, recuperate, gather up all your thoughts. And, when you're ready to dominate the field again, it will be yours. So just heal up, Malik Neighbors, and we appreciate your contribution to, the fantasy league, man. It's been a ride. My next lesson learned is going to be Quinshon Judkins. He's going to be as a banger, though, because he's moving into RB1 category. Not immediately, just because of how this offense is and how terrible it looks. But the key has always been their defense. Their defense is going to win them games, and they're going to run out the clock, and he is going to be the key piece to that, right? He's getting fed like RB1 because last week he got 20 opportunities, and this week he got 25 opportunities. He's definitely moving into the must-start categories because you need to check out his efficiency. Week 2, he had 13 touches for 10 points. Then he got 20 touches for 16.5. Now he got 25 touches for 21.5 because every time he touches the ball, it's just cash money. You can't be mad. It's cash money. And this is coming from a guy who's missed all of training camp, waiting for a fully guaranteed rookie contract, and only playing at 58% of the snaps. So realistically speaking, these are just floor games for him because the snap counts are going to go up. The Browns have one of the easiest strength of schedules, so just peep out his playoff schedule. From week 14 on, when you need these W's, he's going against Tennessee, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and then the Bengals. The Bengals in week 18, if you play up to week 18, but still, he has a beautiful strength of schedule. He might get going. Judkins is a player you wish you drafted or picked up instead of Dylan Sampson, who just had a few decent weeks, or Harold Fannin, who we thought that whole offense was going to revolve around him. But no, it's Quinshon Judkins as the guy there. He is the dude. The next player we're going to talk about is Jaylen Warren because basically he's my fader, and maybe any running back can fit in the system, and he's no longer the dump off king, and it just sucks because I've been banging the drum for Jaylen Warren for the past few weeks, man. He's my sneaky sleeper. He was a buy low, all this and that. Well, this could have been his breakout performance. This could have been Jaylen Warren's breakout performance, and everyone would be talking about him. But look, Kenneth Gainwell, who shined. He had 25 opportunities, giving him 31.4 fantasy points. This is just a classic fantasy football gut punch where you put all your chips in one guy, and then someone else is going to cash out. Another fader I got is going to be Zay Flowers, who was a must start for me this week, and he didn't fully hit his wide receiver 1 territory. I just thought this was going to be a classic game of the clash of the AFC, the Bills and the Ravens week 1. Zay Flowers that week, he had 7 for 143 and a touchdown. So I was hoping that he'll return there, but he gave us a simple 7 for 74 and no touchdowns and 14.4 fantasy points. And it's almost identical to what he had in week 2. It's just the Ravens right now, they're not practical or they're not functional. They just gave Justice Hill 9 touches while turning that into 2 touchdowns for 26.2 fantasy points. And Derrick Henry, he's crashing out like my son without his iPad. And now also with Lamar Jackson coming up with the moons over my hammy injury, we'll just see. We'll keep Zay Flowers in the wide receiver 2 territory until further notice. This one's kind of a mixed bag of lessons, but the Chargers are still kind of elite. I mean, they lost Joe Alt, so we're going to temper expectations for the next few weeks. But the banger for me is going to be Omarion Hampton breakout continues. He was my must start of the week. He got 7 opportunities and he turned it into fantasy gold. He got 128 rushing yards and a touchdown, 5 receptions for 37 yards. So getting the yardage plus the reception, and he's moving very close to the RB1 territory. But again, we're going to have to temper the expectations because they lost Joe Alt. So sticking with the Chargers still, we have another fader. It's going to be McConkey. He just may be in red alert, honestly, because I said he was a buy low, and I just think it's a very long season, and at any point everything can change. But it's DefCon, dude. I don't know. It's DefCon 1. It's DefCon 1 is one of the bad DefCon numbers. I'll tell you that. We're gonna talk about Quintin Johnston because he has evolved. He became the player that we all expected him to be, and we're gonna give him that. We're gonna give that man his flowers, right? He deserves them. He is a wide receiver 1 for this team as of right now. Quintin Johnston, man, you're doing your thing, dog. Justin Herbert is a fader for me. He was my starter of the week. It's just that he's been very underwhelming, especially in week 4, and just now 3 games in a row where he's not even hitting QB1 status after a QB5 finish overall in week 1. I mean, we're not too worried though, because we know the talent is undeniable, and even if they're not firing on all cylinders right now, the Chargers are elite fantasy options, and we know that they're going to give us our points eventually. This is probably my biggest lesson learned. My saddest fader that I got is TreVeyon Henderson did not break out. He was my sneaky sleeper. His snap counts were actually going back up for a little bit, but now we're back to 31% on his snap count. I mean, it's a long season, and we're going to need a better reason, #bars, for Henderson to take over Stevenson, but it's just not going to happen because the fumbles are not going to be enough. And it's just very frustrating to believe in a talent such as TreVeyon Henderson, where we know his potential and he can break out, but then he's just losing snaps. TreVeyon Henderson's going to have to do the most literal thing of a breakout, and he's going to have to prove that he doesn't deserve to be on the bench, and we're just going to leave him on the bench, and that's where he's going to break out, sadly. But hold on to TreVeyon Henderson. He still has the potential to blow up. Woody Marks is going to be a banger because he did break out for me. He was my second option of my choice of rookie running backs that was going to break out as either TreVeyon Henderson or Woody Marks. I said you would not be surprised if Woody Marks is going to be the one to break out. And look, he was a sneaky sleeper. His snap percentage started rising. It went to 11, 27, 48. Now it's at 56%. Nick Chubb definitely is not the same. We just expected eventually he was going to lose touches to Woody Marks. But by week 4, it's kind of shocking. A heads up, you already know that Woody Marks is going to be the #1 waiver wire pickup in all leagues and all formats because Woody Marks is a dual threat on the field, and he's threat level midnight for your league mates. So don't sleep on Woody Marks. Going back to my fader, so we got one more fader. We got Tyquan Thornton as my fader because just the usage wasn't sustainable. You know, Xavier Worthy is a wide receiver 1 over there, and it was just another sneaky sleeper that did not hit. On to the next. We're going to go to another player. We're going to talk about Javonte Williams. He was a fader for me. He was a must sit. And yes, this is my fault on missing on the must sit. You know, and I want to give you as much fantasy points as possible. So I'm going to take the accountability, and, you know, I do apologize. But hey, he was losing snaps to Miles Sanders. The Cowboys offense went flat in week 3, and he still is currently RB6 on the year. But he has 23 opportunities, and he's just in the must start territory all the time. So my mistake, my bad, y'all. But sticking to the Cowboys, we're going to talk about George Pickens as being the wide receiver 1 because George Pickens has arrived. And he was a fave for a lot of people where they're saying he's not a true wide receiver 1. But check this out, 8 receptions for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he's trying to get a contract, so you know he's hungry. Another fader I got for me, and this is my last lesson learned. We're going to stick to the same game. We're going to talk about Matthew Golden. And I really, you know, like I said, he's a fader for me, but I wish he was a banger because Matthew Golden still did not break out. You know, with Jordan Love, what it seems is once he finds his target, he's going to lean into it heavily. Look at Kraft, look at Romeo Dobbs. It's like, that's maybe Jordan Love can't spread it out, but he can hyper target the person that he has a connection with that day. So, you know, but we weren't completely disappointed. I guess he still gave us, I guess Matthew Golden didn't completely disappoint us. I mean, he did give us 5 for 58, and it's decent. No breakout for sure, but yeah, so that's it, y'all. All right, we have taken the lessons that we learned from week 4, and I'll own it, and I need to make better decisions and make better choices too, but that's what it's about. You know, we're learning, we're adjusting, and we're putting it into action. So it's time to hit the waiver wire next, so come through. You know, I appreciate you hanging out with me and kicking it. And if you like these little breakdowns, what I'm doing, what I learned and what I didn't learn, and, you know, the L's and the W's, let's chop it up, man. Who did you pop off for you? Who was your bangers? Who was your faders? You know, like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's connect. And we're going to be on to the next one, yo. Peace.